Okay. In this, we can see the esophagus, which is dilated, which is constricted above due to the pharyngeal pharyngeal constriction, and in the middle part, what we can see is a dilated part of the esophagus, and again it taper off at the lower end, and at the lowermost end it is tapering. So usually we don't get a tapering off like this in normal barium meal. This is tapering maybe due to the constriction, maybe a tumor in the esophagus, mid esophagus, or maybe a constriction from the outside the esophagus, such as the mediastinal mass, which can cause a compression of the esophagus. Will give a picture like this. So this is one of the most common asked X-ray. What type of X-ray it is, and what are the findings you get on this type of X-ray. Okay, so it might be a esophageal CA, or maybe some mediastinal mass which is compressing the esophagus from the outside. Okay, upper one is not a constriction or tumor. It is a normal pharyngeal constrictions which you get before that is the nervous part of the whole GIT. Okay, same thing, mass in the mid esophagus with the irregular shadows, and DD can be a carcinoma or mass out of esophagus, such as a mediastinal mass. For the confirmation of this thing, most of the this tests are obsolete now because of invention of the esophagoscopy or endoscopy. In that, the advantage is we can get a esophagoscopy, we can see the inside of the esophagus, as well as we can get a biopsy also. Again, this is the esophageal barium swallow, in which we can see a hugely dilated esophagus, the white contrast agent, which is getting a tapered off at the lower end. In the first and second picture, we can appreciate that. You can appreciate that. So this type of picture is usually you will get in case of this is typically known as a bird beaks appearance. Most of the time, in our time, that MCQ also used to come. That we used to get in disease of Achalasia cardia. Okay, so if we are getting this X-ray, so we have to know in detail about the Achalasia cardia also. What is Achalasia cardia? That is the incomplete relaxation of the lower sphincter. Because of that, the lower esophageal sphincter get contracted. अभी दिख रहा है ना? हेलो हेलो.
Yes, sir.
Okay, ठीक है. तो in that cases the lower esophageal sphincter get contracted, and because of that the upper esophagus get dilated, and इसमें डू नॉट डिस्टर्ब करने का वो कोई ऑप्शन है क्या? हेलो हेलो हेलो.
यस सर.
हाँ, अभी आ रहा है स्क्रीन ना?
यस सर, इसमें आ रही सर.
इसमें डू नॉट डिस्टर्ब करने का कोई ऑप्शन है क्या? कॉल आया तो उसको वो करने का?
सर ऐसा तो शायद नहीं है सर.
अच्छा, क्योंकि दिखा रहा था. चलो ठीक है.
यस सर.
So in that case, we can see a constriction at the lower esophagus that can occur in the esophageal stricture also, and if there is a tumor at the GE junction also, we can get a similar picture. But that bird beaks appearance is typical of Achalasia cardia. That might come as MCQ also, so that you have to know. Okay, in that case, we are seeing the hugely dilated esophagus with the DD of Achalasia cardia, CO esophagus, and the stricture. The confirmation again requires the scopy and a manometry. Manometry is measuring the tone of the lower esophageal sphincter. If the tone is high, then it is suggestive of eclasia cardia. So manometry is a confirmatory test for the eclasia cardia. Okay. And the biopsy also can be reckoned with the help of esophagoscopy, and the correct diagnosis can be made in case of any mass or growth is found. Okay, this is the previous one of the barium swallow. This is the barium meal, which shows the mucosal irregularities in the lower part of the stomach. What you see, this one filled is the stomach, and this is the upper part of the stomach, and this is a greater curvature, followed by a pylorus and later on the duodenum. So what we get usually is a smooth margin of the stomach, but in this case, in the part of the pylorus, you can see some irregularity, mucosal irregularities. That may be due to a peptic ulcer disease, or maybe some mass or growth in the stomach. So, but these are the accent what you get in the exam, but these things are usually not done nowadays because of the invention of the endoscopy. Okay. Same thing is written there. In case of peptic ulcer or in a case of carcinoma, you will get the mucosal irregularities like this. Okay, again, this is the hugely dilated stomach, maybe due to a pyloric obstruction, or maybe due to carcinoma involving the pyloric region, which causes the obstruction of the pylorus. Yes, this is the enteropyrolysis film, in which the duodenum is intubated with a tube, and whole of the contrast agent is filled in the duodenum, in the jejunum, and the whole of the bowel can be visualized, including the most of the small bowel, and some part of the large bowel can be visualized in that. Okay. We can see in this case from the jejunum part up to the ICJ, ileocecal junction, that is. Okay. That will be helpful earlier to diagnose the obstruction, or to diagnose some irregularities, some carcinoma or tumor. But, the major contraindication for this is the obstruction. Complete obstruction means patient is not able to pass the feces as well as the flatus. That is known as a complete obstruction. Okay, in that case, this is contraindicated. If they are if are not able to pass the feces, if they are passing the flatus, then it can be done. Okay. This is the most important X-ray. What you get and what you are not to miss is this one. This is what type of X-ray first you have to get. No, this is the erect abdomen X-ray, or maybe a supine X-ray, but usually it will be a erect abdominal X-ray. In that cases, you can see gas under the diaphragm on both the sides. Left side, it might be a normal fundus shadow. Fundus shadow, or the gas in the fundus of the stomach, what you see in the left side. So left side is not much significant in all the cases. In the normal cases also you can get. But if you are getting a gas on the diaphragm in the right side, that is suggestive of a perforation, hollow viscous perforation of the abdomen. That is what are the conditions in which we can get a gas in the diaphragm. First and foremost is the perforation. It can be a gastric perforation. It can be a ileal perforation, it can be a duodenal perforation, or it can be a large bowel perforation. Okay. What are the other causes for this gas in the diaphragm? What we are seeing is maybe some bacterial infection, gas producing organism infection that can cause a pneumoperitoneum, or in nowadays post laparoscopy surgery, if you see this, if you take the X-ray like this, we can get the gas in the diaphragm, because in that cases also we insufflated the gas in the abdomen in case of laparoscopic surgeries also. So these are the major indication. But if you are seeing the patient with the pain abdomen, tender rigid abdomen, and we are seeing a gas in the diaphragm, that is more or suggestive of a perforation peritonitis, that is surgical emergency. Sometimes we see the picture like this, the gas in the diaphragm on the right side. On the left side, nothing will be there. Left side is not much significant, but in the right side, if there is a gas in the diaphragm, it's a surgical emergency. Patient has to underwent a laparotomy for the surgery for this thing. Same thing is return inflammation of that can be a perforation of diverticulitis, appendicitis, or a megacolon perforation, or a iatrogenic surgery. In the case of laparoscopic surgery, that the air be put inside. In case of infarction of the intestine, if there is a perforation following the infarction, again same thing and same. Pneumatosis coli or cyst, it gets rupture. We can also see in that cases also we can see the pneumoperitoneum. This is the X-ray in which you can see on the right side there is some opacity beneath the lung shadow. On the left side, the lung shadow is far below the as compared to right. So this type of picture usually or another picture, there is opacity in the right side of the lung. Post laparotomy, we will get the this type of picture because of some subhepatic collection or a hepatic abscess, or maybe due to atelectasis or the pneumonia of the lower part of the lung. So pre-operative, we get the picture like this, and post-operative, we get the picture like this. In case of subdiaphragmatic collection or in case of hepatic abscess. Usually, subhepatic collection occur after the laparotomy or after the surgery, and it can be occur primarily in case of infection of the this thing. Same thing, subthalamic abscess or subdiaphragmatic abscess or a hepatic abscess, mostly followed by peritonitis or laparotomy. Treatment is aspiration if there is hepatic abscess. If there is a liver abscess, there is a treatment is aspiration with the pigtail, ultrasound guided aspiration of the hepatic abscess. Okay, if it is a large one, then it can be drained surgically also. Yeah. Yes. Again, this is a barium meal X-ray which shows a hugely dilated stomach. This is the part of the stomach and the part of duodenum, that is the first part and the second part of the duodenum, which is hugely dilated. Usually, we get this type of picture in case of a duodenal stricture or in case of a duodenal mass or any mass comprising the duodenum from inside or outside. Again, this is a barium meal X-ray, which shows hugely. Maybe you can see in case of Vicky syndrome that you usually used to come in MCQs in our time. That is superior mesenteric syndrome. Superior mesenteric artery gets thrombosed, and there is a dilatation, and there is a loss of blood supply to the whole part of the most of the part of the bowel. That can give rise to the dilatation of the stomach as well as the duodenum. Other DDs can be a duodenal tumor or mechanical obstruction. That can be extramural tumor or the intramural tumor, or maybe a secondary or maybe a lymphoma. Confirmation usually requires a EAScopy or a CT or CT guided biopsy. Yeah, this is the other important X-ray apart from the gas in the diaphragm. Is this one? In that case, this is the erect abdomen X-ray. Usually, what you see is a multiple air fluid level. One fluid level is there, which is the fundus fluid, air and fluid level. That may be in the fundus. Other fluid level is here. This one middle part of the your screen, and third fluid level is here, and multiple fluid level between that also. So when it is significant, if there is more than 3 fluid levels in an X-ray, that is significant of a obstruction. Whether it can be a small bowel, it can be a large bowel obstruction. Normally, we get a 3 fluid level. We can get a fundus at the fundus, or in case of non-obstruction also, we can get up to the 3 fluid levels. If it is more than air fluid level, air and fluid means you can see the blackish part, that is the air, and the white part, that might be a fluid. Okay. So if we are getting more than 3 air fluid level, that is a significance of a obstruction, and it can be a complete or incomplete obstruction also. Okay. And this shadow, what you are seeing, that is the shadow of the Rice tube. Because the Rice tube is lined with already opaque material, so we can see the Rice tube in this also. Okay. Sometimes examiner might ask, what is that? Same thing, dilated bowel loops, multiple gas and fluid levels. That can be a large bowel obstruction, can be a small bowel obstruction. Uh, if there is a complete obstruction, that emergency surgery is needed. Emergency surgery is needed in that cases. Yeah, that is a chest X-ray in which you can see multiple white spots uh, in both the lungs. Usually, this type of picture we get in case of metastasis from a CA breast or maybe a CA testis or maybe a GI tumors or maybe a sarcomas. So this is a multiple fluffy cotton ball appearance. What typically said is this one. Same thing, multiple round opaque or cotton ball like shadows are there in both the lung fields. Sometimes it might be found in tuberculosis also, but if you are seeing this in the surgical setup or in the surgery patient, that might suggest you of a metastasis only. And for confirmation, obviously we can go for a repeat X-rays or we can go for CT scan also. Yeah, this one is what you can see in the middle part of this one. There is a radio opaque shadow. So it is just below the coastal margins. So it can be anything. It can be a renal stone. It can be a gallstone. It can be a piccolith. It can be a calcified lymph nodes. So how to differentiate? Usually the question what the examiner asks is how to differentiate between kidney stone and the gallstone. Okay, it can be a gallstone also. It can be a kidney stone also. So to confirm that, we have to take the lateral films. In lateral films, the gallstone will be higher up and the kidney stone will be in the lower side of. Mostly this one is a kidney stone only. Okay. Same thing what I have told, that DD is a renal stone, gallstone, calcified lymph nodes of piccolith or phlebolith. Lateral X-ray abdomen after preparation is useful for this thing. Or USG or IVU. IVU is the intravenous pyelography or intravenous that is IV. Followed by a renal pelvis, followed by a ureter, and ureter is draining into the bladder. So this is a IVP film. Usually it is done to find out if there is any obstruction at the ureter level, or if there is any stone at the ureter which causes obstruction. Then there is a dilatation of the renal pelvicocalyx system as well as the ureter. So we can get a hugely dilated. Sometimes it can be done to check the function of the kidney also, whether kidney is functioning normally or not. But before that, we have to get a patient urea creatinine done, because we are pushing IV contrast agent that can be hazardous if the patient is having a renal failure. So it is contraindicated in case of patient with the renal failures, or in case of any contrast allergy the patient is having, then also it is contraindicated. So it is usually done to check for the renal pelvicocalyx system as well as a ureter. If there is obstruction or any stone, we can find out with this. Same thing, hydronephrosis, or in case of polycystic kidney disease, you can get a spider-like appearance, limiters in renal failure, diabetes, dye reactions, or in case of multiple myeloma, this IV urogram is contraindicated. IV urogram or pyelogram. Yes, this is a post CBD exploration X-ray in which the tube is there. This one is a T tube in CBD common bile duct. So through that T tube, the contrast agent, usually the urographene, is injected in that tube, which is filling whole of the hepatic ducts and bile duct and the hepatic radicals. So this is a post-operative. It is done to check the to look for the residual stone in the CBD. If it is filling up to the, you can see, if it is filling up to the duodenum, then there is no residual stone. If there is a filling defect, that is suggestive of a filling defect. Same thing is written here. T-tube cholangiogram is usually done 2 weeks after the report to the residual to report the residual stones. Again, this is if there is a stone found that can be extracted through the endoscopic retrograde pannicular cholangography, so that it can be detected. So most of the cases, this test or X-rays has been replaced by the advanced technique. Again, this one is a barium enema. This one is a barium enema. This thing, in which the barium is given in the form of enema from the anal opening, and this is usually used to study the large bowel as well as some part of the small bowel. Okay. In that, we can get a mucosal irregularities and a polyps, which can be diagnosed as a carcinoma or ulcerative colitis. But again, in these cases, for confirmation, we have to get endoscopic and biopsy. Yeah. This is again a barium enema X-ray, in which we can see the feeling defect at the lower part at the rectosigmoid junction. That is suggestive of some mass at the rectosigmoid junction. That part is the rectosigmoid junction, mainly this part. So, if there is a X-ray found like this, then again the confirmation is endoscopic and biopsy. Again, this is a barium enema, in which the irregular border, what you see earlier, it has become smooth on the both the side, more on the left side. So this type of picture usually we get in case of ulcerative colitis. DD can be a tuberculosis or a carcinoma. This is again a barium enema, which shows the typical sawtooth of barium that we get in multiple diverticulitis. So these are diverticula in the large bowel, which gives her appearance like this. So sawtooth appearance is a significance of diverticulitis, multiple diverticulosis, maybe in sigmoid colon or left colon. Yeah, this is again a barium enema, which shows a claw hook appearance or a claw appearance. This is a claw appearance, what you can see, which is more or more suggestive of intussusception. Intussusception has most of the fancy signs and this thing. One of that is the claw sign. On other is in the ultrasound you get a target sign that used to come as an MCQ in our time, but I don't know for nowadays what it is. Again, this is a claw ending or claw hook sign that is typical finding in the intussusception, may be a ileocolic. So if you are getting X like this, you have to know about the intussusception. What is intussusception? What is the treatment? What is the features? What are the presenting features? That everything you have to know. Again, this is a barium enema, which shows, which has been done through the colostomy or the ileostomy to look for the patency of the anostomotic site. This is one of the recent things. What we can see is that is the tube in the esophagus and the stomach, and which is going up to the part of the liver on this side. So this is endoscopic retrograde cholangiopancreatography. As the name suggests, endoscopic. That endoscopy has been passed retrograde through the ampulla of Vetter, pancreatic duct, and the junction of the pancreatic duct and the common bile duct is cannulated, and through that stent has been pushed. Through the dye has been pushed in the pancreatic duct and the CBD to evaluate the CBD as well as pancreatic duct in case of any stone or in case of any obstruction. This has to be done. Mostly done in case of pancreatic stone or in the CBD stone. This is diagnostic as well as therapeutic also. If you find the pancreatic stone or duodenal stone, it can be retrieved through this same technique also. Yeah, this is the oral cystogram. Oral contrast is be given to look for the contrast and look for the gallbladder, whether it's getting filled or not, if there is obstruction at the cystic ductus, if the contrast will not get filled in the gallbladder. So it is usually to see if there is any stone that is causing blockage of the neck of the gallbladder, or if there is any large stone which is sitting in the fundus of the gallbladder. Usually presses the function of the gallbladder, whether it's contracting or not, and to rule out the stones. Usually this is also obsolete with the invention of the ultrasound and other techniques. This is the other film. What you see is a mammogram. Mammogram, two views. All of us know that two views are taken. One is craniocaudal. This one is a craniocaudal view, and other is a mediolateral view. This one is mediolateral view. What we see in this thing is there is a hypertensity at the center. What you see this one is some mass in the breast, which can be appreciated in the mediolateral film also. So mammogram, craniocaudal view, mediolateral view, any irregular mass or the calcification can be seen as opacity. It can be indicated as a screening tool for CA breast, or in case of a doubtful mass, if there is a big mass, the mammogram can be taken. And for a contralateral patient with the patient of breast cancer in one breast, the other breast can be evaluated with the mammogram to look for any mass in that. And follow up in case of conservative breast CA. Okay, this one is again important, but might not be there in your collection or in the surgery department. This is angiogram of the lower limb. The vessel of the lower limb can be seen usually in case of peripheral vascular disease. If there is an obstruction, it can be appreciated. But the first investigation is Doppler, color Doppler, ultrasound, and the diagnostic investigation is angiogram of the lower limb. In case of peripheral vascular disease, whether it can be a Berger disease or can be a atherosclerosis disease. Same thing. This one is a very obsolete procedure, that is photosplenogram, in which then the portal vein and the spleen can be visualized in case of the portal vein thrombosis, or to evaluate the patency of the portal vein and the splenic in case of a splenic infarction or the portal vein thrombosis or the splenic vein thrombosis. The splenoportovenography is done. Usually rated portal vein and the splenic veins with the collateral can be seen, but it is obsolete nowadays. It is usually done in case of portal hypertension due to splenic vein or the portal vein thrombosis to study the portal vein endomy. But ultrasound and Doppler is replaced this splenoportovenography. Ureteroscopy and CT scan can be done on the regular date. But some of the X-rays are missing. What is in that is a bladder stone X-ray. In the lower part of the X-ray, you can see a huge radio opacity. That can be a bladder. That can be a bladder stone, or the X-ray of the pneumoperitoneum or hydropneumothorax that is missing in this PPT. So that you can see in the net also. Okay, thank you. Any questions? Any doubt? You can ask. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. No question, sir.
No questions.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Send the attendance, no? In the department then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Good day, sir.
Thank you, sir.